The information on this YouTube channel is not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. All content, including text, graphics, images, and information contained on or available through this channel, is for general information purposes only. This channel makes no representation and assumes no responsibility for the accuracy of information on or available through this channel, and such information is subject to change without notice. You are encouraged to confirm any information obtained from or through this channel with other sources and review all information regarding any medical condition or treatment with your physician. What's going on, guys? Pistol Packin' Pilot back with another video. The drama from the Kool-Aid continues. I have learned, according to Business Insider, that United has fired 6 pilots that did not comply with the Kool-Aid, and United has 13,000 pilots on property. So these pilots obviously have gotten their job back, but there's much more to this story. Stay tuned. Triple P is back. I am referencing an article that is old, full disclosure, and I'm doing that for a very good reason. We're going to get to that in a minute. The article is dated December 16th of 2021. United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby has admitted that 6 of their pilots were fired for refusing not to take the Kool-Aid. He explained the company has a very strict Kool-Aid mandate, and it's either they take the Kool-Aid or they take their walking papers. Kudos to these guys for standing up and holding their ground, because they got their jobs back with 100% back pay. What was surprising to me is that I did not know it was only 6 pilots. I thought there would have been at least a couple hundred, but according to this, it looks like there were only 6. And I think the confusion came in when the CEO of United, Scott Kirby, testified that about 200 employees were terminated because they failed to get the Kool-Aid, but 6 of those were pilots. The other 194 would have been working in other departments. Of course, he tried to justify it by saying it represents less than 1%, blah, 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 blah. He explained to the Senate how it has saved so many lives. Everyone needs to take the Kool-Aid. He did that while he had Joe Biden's schlong halfway down his throat, I'm sure. And then he bragged about how in August, United was the first major U.S. airline to implement an employee vaccination mandate, requiring workers to either get the Kool-Aid or face termination. Talk about criminal. How about that? You either take our poison or you take your walking papers and you starve and you don't feed your family. Then it explains that these 6 employees, pilots, I'm assuming, filed a lawsuit against United Airlines. It claimed the requirements violated personal freedoms and failed to offer reasonable accommodation to staff who did not get Kool-Aided up. United actions have left plaintiffs with the impossible choice of either taking the Kool-Aid at the expense of their religious beliefs and their health, or losing their livelihood, according to the lawsuit. So here's where things get interesting, guys. That original lawsuit of 6 has now apparently turned into a class action lawsuit with over 300 pilots. And this is why I'm bringing this video to you guys. This is super important. Nobody is talking about it. Nobody is publicizing it. I have confirmed this through several friends of mine who are pilots for United Airlines. Some of these friends are actually even part of this class action lawsuit. They are not only suing United Airlines, they are also suing ALPA, which is the union that represents United's pilots, the Airline Pilots Association, It is the biggest pilot union in the United States, and they are suing both the airline and their union. Here's the background information that nobody seems to know about. ALPA, the United Pilots Union, their MEC, which is Master Executive Council, otherwise known as the union leadership at United Airlines, allegedly pushed for the Kool-Aid mandate just as hard as United Airlines did. In fact, they may have not even pushed the mandate through had it not been for the liberal union leadership that was running United's Master Executive Council. So what we have here, guys, is a union that on this issue sold the employees that it represents right down the damn river. And how did I find this out? Here's where things really blow wide open. And you can Google this, it's all over the news. United pilots have just reached a new tentative agreement with their pilots.
What is a tentative agreement?
So a tentative agreement is basically a new contract. So it's going to have all of the new work rules, all of the new pay rates that generally extend for a minimum of 4, possibly 5 years. It's coming to the United Pilots for a vote. From what I understand, it is a damn good contract. I predict that the contract will pass. That's neither here nor there. But I was reading through the highlights of the tentative agreement for the United Pilots, and something jumped out and hit me like an uppercut right to the chin. Check out this clause of their new tentative agreement, and it's under medical. Company is prohibited from requiring any Kool-Aid or medical procedure beyond the requirements for an FAA medical, including special issuance medicals. No medical procedure or vaccine requirement beyond what the FAA requires for a pilot medical, including special issuance. So I saw this clause in their new contract, and I thought to myself, well, that's interesting. That's the first time that a clause like that has been put into any pilot contract to protect its employees. And that's how I started going down this rabbit hole, guys. That's when I learned about this lawsuit. Over 300 pilots. They're suing their airline. They're suing their union. And obviously the cause for the lawsuit is being forced to take the Kool-Aid under duress. They were basically told that you either take the Kool-Aid by this date, or here's your walking papers, you don't have a job. And guys, I'm blown away that it was only 6 employees that held the line. I am stunned. At the airline that I fly for, there was over 100 of us that were willing to hold the line. There was over 100 of us that were willing to stand up and say, you want to fire me? You go right on ahead, and I'll see you in court. I'm stunned that these United pilots, or more of these United pilots rather, didn't do the same thing. Now, how is this going to end? How is this all going to play out? Well, I predict that everyone's going to play pass the buck with this lawsuit. United is going to say they were just following CDC recommendations. The pilots union is going to say they were doing the same thing. Then United is going to say that the union supported it, and that's the reason they implemented the policy. So it's going to turn into a blame game. Whether or not this actually ends up being a settlement for the pilots and they recover any financial compensation out of it or not is to be seen. But we do know that since the Kool-Aid has been released, there have been many more pilots losing their medicals, which is their certification to be able to fly. It's their livelihood. And there have been countless on-duty incapacitations. And there's been even more incapacitations while guys have been in hotels on overnights. And there's been even more unexplained early departures of guys who are at home with their families or home alone. And 1 minute they're here, 1 minute they're gone. Hell, I can tell you at my airline, I know of one pilot several days ago. By the time you watch this video, it'll be Saturday. So it was approximately 1 week ago that suffered a very severe hydraulic pump failure, if you know what I mean. Ended up having to go to surgery. And he was only 42 years old. 42 years old, decent shape, fully Kool-Aided up. Welcome, my friends, to the new normal. These are people that I know. These are people that you know. These are people that you trust to keep you safe. But this is where we're at. Thanks for watching, guys. I am the Pistol Packing Pilot, and I am out. See ya!